Hey guys, it's Cecile. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you guys who don't know me, I'm a freshman at Brown University where I'm double majoring in biology and history as a pre-med, and I'm so excited to be back on YouTube because even though I haven't posted in like 3 months or so, it honestly feels like forever. And I just have so much to post, so much to say, and I'm really excited for that. Basically, as you guys know, I made this YouTube channel to share with you guys the advice that I wish I'd known in high school, and now I can finally share the advice that I wish I had known in college based on the 1 semester of experience I've had. Stay subscribed if you already are, and if you have not subscribed yet, hit that button and hit that bell to stay notified every single time I post a new video. Today's video is going to be all about choosing a college, and I automatically know from all of you guys watching this video that you're probably stuck between a couple options. You're not really like sure where to go, or maybe you're watching this video because you want to choose which colleges to apply to in the future. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to be touching on both and just talking about the aspects that are really important when choosing a college. I feel like when people are like, oh, like I don't know where to go, everyone's just kind of like, look at your financial aid, visit the campus, look at what they offer for your major, and all that generic advice. But no, we're going to be going deeper, and we're going to be talking about the really important things that nobody really tells you about choosing a college, and we're going to make sure that you guys make the right choice in the end. But before I even get into today's content, I just want to extend a huge congratulations to the class of 2025 for finishing this college admission season, because it was literally so brutal. I've been reading my DMs the past few months, and I've been getting so many messages from kids saying like, hey, I've been deferred, what can I do? Hey, I've been waitlisted at the school that I thought was my safety, or just telling me about the application process in general, and it is so crazy. Because so many schools went test optional, a lot of the application amounts actually like skyrocketed, and the admission rates went down, and it's just so stressful. And honestly, all I have to say to you guys is don't base your worth on where you got in or where you're going, because in the end, this admission season, like all others, it was really random. So you really can't tie your acceptance to a certain school to your worthiness in general. And there are just so many things that you have to consider with that. But all I have to say is that you will be happy wherever you end up, and absolute worst case, transferring is always an option. So don't complicate it too much. I know it's easier said than done, but it takes a while, and you'll find acceptance and you'll be happy at your school in the future. So just keep your hopes up and keep pushing through it. But enough of that inspirational message, and into today's content. First thing I want you to consider when choosing a college, this may be important to some people, may not be as important to others, is whether that college will give you credit for the classes you've already taken. Like I'm talking about AP classes, IB classes, college classes at another university. Some schools, especially the Ivy League, will not accept your other courses. You literally will not get credit for them. I walked into Brown with, I want to say 13 AP credits, and I got credit for 2 of them. I'm only getting credit for my AP Chem class and my AP French class, even though I wasted time basically studying for and stressing over all these AP classes, all these AP tests. It's great that you take these. It really shows proficiency. It shows that you're trying really hard, doing well in these classes, and that's what gets you into college. However, these AP tests often don't get you credit at every school, and if credit's something that's really important to you, it might be a big deal when you're choosing what college to go to, because in the end, if you do have enough credit, you may be able to graduate in less time, thus saving money. And in the long run, that might be more important to you. The second factor that I think is super important when choosing a college is campus safety, and I cannot stress this enough. I feel like universities don't really openly advertise this information because no university wants to be the one that has to say like, oh, our campus is really safe, but the surrounding city really isn't. Or like something like, oh, our campus had the 2nd highest sexual assault rate in the country. These are important things, and people don't really talk about that, and it should be important to you, so I feel like you should really look into this. Even if you're just going on morning runs, or if you're going out every night or with a group of friends or whatever, campus safety is really important, and the surrounding city is really important, because you want to feel comfortable in whatever you do, and you can't just control the people around you and the atmosphere that is around you. And so you really have to think about these things when choosing a college. Personally, I feel really safe at Brown. I know that there are literally police cars on every single street, and they're the Brown police, which I find to be way nicer than the Providence police. Just saying, they're like much more understanding, and it's just really nice in general. But also there are some parts of Providence that are not really safe at night or during the day, and it really depends. You just learn to avoid those parts or go with a group of friends, that kind of stuff. But it's something that you really need to look into, especially if you're going to a big city. Okay, but before I get into the rest of today's video, I just want to talk about this really cool website, Ivy Camps USA. They have tons of group classes for college admissions and success. Like I'm talking classes on public speaking and interviewing, classes on writing for university admissions, and even classes for college life, like once you actually commit to a school. There are tons of different classes for you to check out, and several times for each class, just to make sure it fits into your schedule. Best of all, they even have free sample classes where you can try it out before committing to a group class. In fact, there's some coming up on April 22nd, 27th, and 29th. So the link to sign up for this is below in my description, but you can also just look up ivcampsusa.com. Also, if you enroll in a class before June 15th, you can use the code Cecile20 to get 20% off your order. So I really hope you guys can take advantage of this opportunity. But anyways, back to the video. The third thing you should take into account when choosing a college is how big the college is and what you actually want out of your college experience. Because I'll tell you this right now, I did not think going into Brown that being a small school would be best for me. I liked the idea of it, but at the same time, I was like highly considering schools like OSU, which are giant with like literally 60,000 kids. Meanwhile, like Brown has like 6,000. But now that I've come to Brown, I love this small community so much. Personally, being at a small school means that it's easier to connect with my classmates, it's easier to connect with my professors, it's easier to get research opportunities, volunteer opportunities, be in clubs, that kind of stuff. But if I was at a large school, it would be completely different. And I cannot speak on behalf of the large school experience, but I will say that I personally love having that individualized attention, because a lot of the times, like, I will need help in a subject, and it's great knowing that I can just literally call up a tutor or text my TA or literally just email my professor asking for a 30-minute meeting just to clarify some concepts, because I don't know if I would have those same privileges at a larger school. So it's definitely something to think about, and I feel like it's not talked about as much either. I mean, people always say like find your right student environment, but it varies a lot based on what you want. Another thing to think about along that level is whether you want a school that's more of like a party school or a school that's more of like a learning school, because there are very different schools on this spectrum. I can tell you, like, if I went to OSU or like, this was not even a consideration of mine, but like Alabama or some huge party school, I would definitely have a different experience than I do here right now. Not to say that Brown really isn't a party school or a social school in general. Like, I think Brown is very like work hard, play hard kind of vibes, and a lot of the Ivy Leagues and top schools are like that in general. But I know that there's some top schools like Duke that are more party schools, while other top schools like Princeton may be more studious schools. It really depends, and I cannot speak on behalf of students at that school because I don't go there. So that's something where you'd really have to contact kids that go to that school and be like, hey, what do you think the vibes are like? I just think that this is super duper important, because the vibe that you want in a school is the vibe that you're going to surround yourself with. And yes, I know that you can still go to a party school and not party, but that pressure will always be around you. And I feel like it just kind of carries in the school's like environment in general. And that might not be the most comfortable place for you if you're not comfortable with those kinds of things. Along that line, going to a very studious school when all you want to do is party might not be the best thing as well. For example, I know a friend who's a huge partier. She went to Case Western Reserve University in Ohio, and that school is like very studious vibes. Like, I feel like everyone who goes there is a pre-med, and everyone who goes there is like super STEM focused and like super smart and super studious. Like, it's a very intense school in my opinion. Those are the vibes I get from the kids who go there. But she did not have the best time there. She really like, she kind of found a group that she could like hang out with and like go out with on weekends and stuff like that, but it was not her vibe at all. And she ended up transferring out of there. So if you don't want to transfer, or you don't really want to have that option open, you just want to like stay at the same school for 4 years, definitely think about this, because the pressure is there whether you want it to be or not. And that's not to say that you can't like stay in instead of like going out on weekends if you have a lot of work to do, because everyone's really understanding about that. That's really different. I'm talking about just like the environment as a whole. Some giant party schools will literally go out like every single day, like not even just on the weekends. So you really need to think about those kinds of things. Another factor that is super duper important is just the vibe of the school and the student body in general. And sometimes you really can't determine this vibe just from looking at videos like this one, or like basically looking up like virtual tours and that kind of stuff. Sometimes you really have to talk one-on-one with a student, which I'm always happy to do about Brown. I could rave about why I love Brown for like literally like hours. Or you can just literally talk to an admissions officer or a tour guide. Sometimes you can find their emails on the website, stuff like that. For example, I can speak for Brown. I had an admitted student from the class of 2025. She came here, she just kind of wanted to tour the school a little bit. And so I was like standing in the main green, which is the area where everyone kind of congregates and like hangs out and studies and stuff. And I was talking to her, I was explaining like all the different things at Brown that I really like, and I was talking about the student body. And while I was standing there, like literally over the course of 10 minutes, tons of different people came, said hi to us, talked to her, welcomed her. Like, it was like just such a great environment. And that's the whole like small school vibe. Like, everyone kind of gets to know each other a little bit, so it feels like you always have a friendly face wherever you go. And I know Brown in general has a stereotype for being like really quirky, really fun, kind of like the low-key chill Ivy, and I feel like that really checks out. Like, I feel like everyone here really fits that reputation, and that's just kind of our vibe, and we kind of really go with it. I know that other schools may have other vibes, and you really might have to visit those to find out what the vibes really are like. Sometimes you really don't have to even talk to someone. You can just walk around a campus and kind of get a feel for what it's like. You can get a feel for what the students are doing outside, what they're talking about, who's outside, what are they doing. There's just a lot of different things you can look at. And also you might end up visiting campus and instantly getting that feeling in your heart where you're like looking around and you're like, wow, I absolutely love this community. I want to go here. And in that case, it's like, go with your heart, trust your gut, like go to that school. But in general, visiting a school can have a huge impact, and looking at a school's vibe is also really important. However, I will say when you're checking out a school's vibe, be careful not to feed into stereotypes, because a lot of schools have a lot of different stereotypes that may not always hold true. For example, I know with Brown that we have the stereotype for being the high Ivy. Everyone just says that like everyone's always high here, they don't do anything, they're lazy, they don't have grades, like they don't really study. Like that's definitely not true. I mean, some parts of it, for some people might be true, but I think coming here, I've realized that everyone is super duper smart, just like I expected. And it's not really a lazy Ivy in any way. You can't really compare our academic potential to other schools in the Ivy League. So I feel like that stereotype definitely doesn't hold true. And just because you go to Brown where there are pass-fail classes and stuff like that does not mean that you are any less smart than someone who took the same exact classes for a grade at Johns Hopkins or something like that. And on the topic of stereotypes in general, a huge stereotype that goes around for like community colleges or local schools is that the people there are dumb or they just didn't get into any other schools, which is also completely not true. So if you're considering going to a local school to save money or going to community college, which is also a great option, like don't feed into those stereotypes, because it's definitely not what the majority of the student body believes, and it does not represent that school in general. People just say this kind of stuff to portray other schools in a negative light, and it's just unfair, and it's unfair to the student body in general. So do not stereotype schools, do not feed into those stereotypes, because oftentimes they do not hold true. Okay, so like now that I've covered school vibe and that like location kind of stuff, I want to talk about rankings and prestige, because these are definitely really important things. I feel like a lot of the times people choose their colleges just because they're ranked higher than the other options, or they're more prestigious, or they have a better like weight in their name and that kind of stuff. Which, I mean, yeah, it's true that going to a school that might be considered better may give you more opportunities in the long run, but it's also really important to look at what your school offers for people in your specific majors and the opportunities that you can get there. For example, just because one school is ranked really, really high does not mean it's the best place to go for every single type of person. So if you get into a super amazing research institution, but you're majoring in like music or something like that, something that the school may not be particularly good at, I wouldn't really recommend churning up an offer from a really great music school that's ranked much lower just because it's mostly for other majors, just because you want to go to a school that's ranked higher in general. Now, this is not always true, because sometimes you do have other interests, or you want to double major, you want to consider other things, but overall, rankings don't tell everything, so it's really important to consider the other things and the things that your school might be good at compared to other schools. Like overall, you need to look at what school will offer you the best opportunities down the road in your prospective department. You need to look at these kinds of things, and you can talk to students that are in those departments in order to do this. A lot of times people like contact me and they're like, I don't really know how to get connected to students, but it's really easy, honestly. I've said this before, but you can kind of just go on Instagram or like any social media platform, mostly Instagram, and if you do like hashtag like, let's say Brown 2021, you can instantly talk to a bunch of seniors in the Brown class of 2021 by scrolling through the acceptance posts and kind of finding someone that fits your vibe. And then once you DM that person, you might say like, hey, I'm interested in music, can you connect me to someone who's also like majoring in this kind of stuff if you're not like interested in music yourself. A lot of times people are more than happy to help you, and this might be a great way to forge connections and to learn more about your school, or even to get someone who will give you a tour of the school when you come to visit. So that's my little trick. Don't tell everyone, except definitely do, because I kind of want to help as many people as possible. Honestly, at the end of the day, the most important thing in my opinion is going with your heart, because if you're looking at schools and they're the same financially, academically, like ranking wise for your major and all those other factors, you've looked at everything, they both literally look the exact same, go with your heart. Go with the school that you genuinely want to go to. And let me teach you how to do this. This is my best idea for making decisions like ever, because I am so indecisive, so this strategy comes in handy so many times. So what you do when you're deciding between two different things is you flip a coin. And I'm not saying just like flip a coin and like whatever it lands on is what you're gonna get. Like, no. I'm saying you basically assign one school heads and you assign the other school tails. So the strategy is, when you're flipping this coin, in your head, what side do you want it to land on? Because that's the side that you truly want on the inside. Like, for example, let's say you're deciding between like Duke and Princeton or something like that. So you assign Duke heads and you assign Princeton tails. And so you're flipping this coin, and in your heart and in your head, you're basically like, wow, I really, really want to land on tails. In that case, like, yeah, you want to go to that school. So go to the school that you really wanted it to land on, because that'll say more about your inside desires. I don't know, that's like kind of a little trick I use to make decisions. I think it comes in handy a lot of the times. Let me know if you actually try that and if it actually helps you decide what school to commit to for the next 4 years. So I don't want this video to be an hour long, even though it easily could be, because I could rant about this topic for hours. So I think I'm gonna end the advice here, but if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me on DM. My Instagram's linked below in the description. And I just want to say good luck to everyone making this decision, because I know it's not easy and I know it's really tough and there's a lot to consider. And sometimes you might not be able to attend the school that you got into that you really, really love for other reasons that are not mentioned in this video, just like finances and other things in general. But I just wanted to say that you will be happy wherever you end up. You will end up meeting great people that you can call your best friends, and you will have the time of your life while learning the stuff that you really care about. So don't stress too much about choosing a college, because in the end, a lot of these colleges are very, very similar. Thank you for watching this video, supporting my channel, all that jazz. I just want to say that this was low-key an elongated rant, not my best video, but that's because I'm really sleep deprived and finals are this week. But I felt like I needed to get this video out there before May 1st, because I know that so many of you guys are basically like stuck between so many different schools. And yeah, so that's the end of this video. Stay tuned next week for more videos, and have a great day.